I'm canceling everything, I said into the phone, my voice calm and clear. There was silence on the other end, the kind that tells you someone just realized they made a terrible mistake. My name is Harper. I'm 32 years old, and for the past 5 years, my sister's wedding has been my full-time job. Not as a guest, not as a bridesmaid, as the invisible architect of her perfect day, the one who made sure she looked flawless while I hemorrhaged money and sanity behind the scenes. So when she told me I wasn't sophisticated enough to stand in her wedding party, after I'd paid for nearly everything, something inside me finally snapped. I didn't cry. I didn't beg for an explanation. I just pulled the plug on every single vendor. And that's when her dream wedding started to crumble. Before we continue, tell me where you're listening from right now. In your car during lunch break? Late at night when everyone else is asleep? In a space that finally feels like yours? This is Echoes of Life. And whatever brought you here, you're not alone. I never asked to become my sister's wedding planner. It happened gradually, like water eroding stone. It started 4 years ago when Meredith got engaged to Connor. She was 29, glowing, convinced she'd found her person. I was happy for her, genuinely. At her engagement party, she pulled me aside, champagne in hand, and asked if I could help with a few small things. Just the invitations, maybe coordinate with a few vendors. She said she trusted my taste, that I was the only one organized enough to handle it. It felt like a compliment. I worked in project management at a tech firm. I was good at keeping things on track, at making sure details didn't slip through cracks. So I said yes, I'll help. Of course I'll help. That first year, I sent out invitations, researched venues, called caterers for quotes. Meredith would show up to tastings, smile for photos, make the final decisions. But I did the legwork, the spreadsheets, the follow-ups. When vendors needed deposits, she'd text me, "Can you cover it for now? I'll Venmo you next week." Next week never came. By month 3, I'd spent $4,000 of my own money. When I gently brought it up, she sighed like I'd disappointed her. "Harper, this is family. Why are you making it weird?" So I stopped asking. Then the wedding got postponed. Connor's mother got sick. They pushed it back a year. I thought maybe that meant a reset, a chance to step back. But instead, Meredith called me crying. "Everything's ruined. The venue might not hold our date. The photographer's booked. Harper, I can't lose everything we've built." As if she'd been building anything. I spent 2 months renegotiating contracts, finding replacement vendors, keeping her dream alive. She thanked me with a hug and a Starbucks gift card. The next year, they postponed again. Connor wanted to wait until he got his promotion. Then it was until they found the perfect venue. Then until they saved more money. Except they weren't saving. I was paying. By year 3, I'd covered the engagement photos, the bridal shower, 3 different venue deposits because she kept changing her mind. I'd taken days off work to meet with florists, spent weekends designing seating charts on my laptop while she went wine tasting with her friends. My credit cards carried a balance for the first time in my life. When I asked about repayment, Meredith said, "When we get our wedding gifts, we'll settle everything. I promise." My mother enabled it. "Harper, you know your sister. She's creative, not practical. You're so good at this stuff." My father avoided it entirely. My older brother, Jason, showed up to family dinners with jokes and empty hands, just like in the old patterns. No one expected anything from him. Everyone expected everything from me. I told myself this was temporary, that after the wedding, I'd get my money back. That this was what love looked like. But deep down, I was starting to realize something darker. I wasn't her sister during wedding planning. I was her unpaid employee. And employees can be fired. The week before everything fell apart, I felt it in my body before I understood it in my mind. A tightness in my chest. An exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. I'd come home from work and stare at my laptop, at the vendor spreadsheet that had become my evening companion. 47 line items, $18,340 paid by me, $0 reimbursed. The wedding was finally happening, 4.5 years after the engagement. Meredith had set the date for June 15th. Peak wedding season. Premium prices. My phone buzzed constantly. Vendors asking for final payments. Bridesmaids asking about dress fittings. Meredith's future mother-in-law asking if I could pick up her sister from the airport. They didn't ask Meredith. They asked me, because somehow, I'd become the point person for her entire wedding. At work, I ate lunch at my desk, firing off emails to florists. At home, I stood in my kitchen reviewing timelines, while my own dinner got cold. My body learned to run on adrenaline and obligation. I noticed things I'd tried to ignore. How my name never appeared in any of the wedding planning photos Meredith posted. How decisions were announced to me, not discussed with me. How when I walked into a room, conversations shifted to logistics, like I was staff being briefed. When I tried to pull back even slightly, suggesting maybe she could handle the DJ directly, her tone changed. Are you okay? You're being weird. Don't do this now, Harper. Please. We're so close. So I pushed harder. I told myself that in 2 more months, it would be over. I could rest after June 15th. This was just the season of sacrifice. But then came the phone call that changed everything. Meredith's voice was light, almost cheerful. Hey, I need to talk to you about something. I was driving home from work, exhausted. What's up? So, Connor and I have been thinking about the wedding party. I waited. We've decided to go with a really clean, sophisticated aesthetic. Very editorial. Minimalist. I still didn't understand. That sounds beautiful. She paused. So we're keeping the wedding party small. Just Connor's brother and his best friend from college. And on my side, just my roommate from grad school and Connor's sister. I pulled over. Wait, what about me? Another pause. Harper, you know I love you, but we're going for a specific look. We need people who fit the vibe. You understand, right? You're more of a behind-the-scenes person anyway. You'll still be at the wedding, obviously, just not in the wedding party. The world went very quiet. A specific look, I repeated. Yeah, we're hiring a professional coordinator for the day of, so you can actually relax and enjoy yourself. Isn't that great? You've done so much already. She said it like she was doing me a favor, releasing me from duty, but keeping me close enough to clean up any messes. Who's paying the coordinator? I asked. Well, she's $3,000, but it's worth it. We've saved for this. Saved. That word landed like a slap. I'll text you the final timeline, she continued. Can you just make sure all the vendors have the coordinator's number? I want to hand everything off to her smoothly. Hand off everything I built to someone else, someone sophisticated enough. The call ended. I sat in my car in the grocery store parking lot, staring at the steering wheel, and something crystallized. They hadn't saved. I had paid, and now I was being edited out of the photos while keeping all the debt. I drove home in a daze. Walked through my apartment. It felt smaller than usual, like the walls were closing in. I opened my laptop and pulled up my spreadsheet. Every vendor, every contract, every payment. Then I opened my email. Every confirmation was in my name. The venue contract? My credit card. The caterer? My account. The florist? The photographer? The string quartet? All mine. Because Meredith hated paperwork. You're so much better at this stuff, she'd always said. That trust felt different now. I sat there for an hour, just looking at the numbers. $18,340. My vacation fund, my emergency savings, my down payment for a car I'd been putting off buying, all of it poured into a wedding I wasn't sophisticated enough to stand in. Then I opened my notes app and started writing. Not to prove a point, just to see the truth in black and white. Because once you document what you've carried, you can't pretend the weight doesn't exist. That night, I didn't cry. I got angry. The clean kind of anger that sharpens your thinking instead of clouding it. I thought about every conversation where I'd been made to feel guilty for asking about money. Every time I'd been called sensitive for having boundaries. Every moment I'd shrunk myself to keep the peace. I thought about my mother's voice. Don't make this about you, Harper. It's Meredith's day. As if my financial ruin was just part of the decor. Before I went to bed, I did something I'd never done before. I took screenshots of every vendor contract, every payment confirmation, every text message where Meredith promised to pay me back. I organized them into a folder on my desktop. I titled it Evidence. Then I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, I woke up knowing exactly what I needed to do. No drama, no revenge speech, just consequences. I started with the venue. I called the event coordinator at Willowbrook Estate. Hi, this is Harper Chen. I need to review the contract for the Reynolds-Morrison wedding on June 15th. Of course. Everything's all set. We're so excited. Actually, I need to cancel. Silence. I'm sorry, what? The event is under my credit card. I'm disputing the charges and canceling the booking. Miss Chen, we're 3 weeks out. The deposit is non-refundable, and I understand. I'm willing to lose the deposit. But I'm not authorizing any further charges. Please cancel. I could hear her typing. This is highly unusual. Does the bride know? The bride will know shortly. Thank you for your time. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from relief. Next was the caterer, then the florist, then the photographer. Each call was calm, professional, no explanations required. I'm canceling the order under my name. Yes, I understand the penalties. Please confirm in writing. The string quartet, the cake designer, the rental company for chairs and linens. One by one, I pulled the foundation out from under the wedding I'd built. The last call was the hardest. The photographer, Amanda, had become almost a friend. We'd spent hours discussing shot lists. She'd been kind to me. Harper, I'm so sorry, but can I ask what happened? Did they find someone else? No, I said quietly. I'm just not part of the wedding anymore, and I can't keep paying for something I'm not included in. There was a long pause. They cut you out? After everything you've done? Yeah, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. Her kindness almost broke me. Thank you, Amanda. You're really talented. I hope you book something even better for that date. Harper, for what it's worth, you're doing the right thing. I hadn't realized how much I needed someone to say that. By noon, I'd canceled everything that was under my name. The wedding wasn't dead, but it was on life support. Meredith would have to rebuild it from scratch. In 3 weeks, with no deposits. Good luck with that sophistication. I opened the family group chat, the one I'd muted months ago because it was just a stream of wedding demands. I unmuted it and typed, "Hey everyone, I won't be able to help with wedding coordination anymore. Personal reasons. Hope it all works out beautifully." Short, simple, no room for argument. Then I texted Meredith privately. "I've canceled all the vendors that were under my name. You'll need to rebook. Good luck with your big day." I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see the explosion in real time. I needed a few hours of peace before the chaos hit. I went to the grocery store, bought ingredients for a meal I'd actually sit down and eat, came home and cooked pasta with vegetables, poured a glass of wine, sat on my couch and watched the sunset through my window. For the first time in years, I wasn't planning someone else's dream. I was just existing in my own life. It felt strange, quiet, good. My phone stayed off until the next morning. When I finally turned it on, it exploded. 47 missed calls, 89 text messages. My voicemail was full. I made coffee first, let it brew while I watched the notifications pile up. Meredith, 15 calls, 23 texts. My mother, 8 calls, 19 texts. Jason, 2 texts. The disparity told me everything. I read Meredith's texts in order. They started confused. "Harper, what are you talking about?" Then angry. "The venue just called me." "What did you do?" Then panicked. "Harper, please call me. This isn't funny." Then vicious. "You're a selfish bitch. You're ruining my life because you're jealous I'm getting married and you're alone." There it was. The real Meredith. The one who came out when she didn't get what she wanted. My mother's texts were somehow worse. "Harper, I don't know what's going on, but you need to fix this. Your sister is hysterical. This isn't like you. Call me immediately. Not, are you okay? Not, what happened? Just fix it. Make yourself smaller. Absorb the damage." Jason's texts were brief. "Mom says you blew up Mer's wedding. Did you actually?" And then an hour later. Honestly, kind of impressive. I almost laughed. I didn't call anyone back. Instead, I sent one text to the family group chat. I spent $18,340 of my own money over 4 years. I was told I'm not sophisticated enough to stand in the wedding. I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm removing my financial support. That's all. Then I muted it again. The calls kept coming. I let them ring. At 10 a.m., there was knocking on my door. Aggressive. Persistent. I looked through the peephole. Meredith. I took a breath and opened it. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, eyes red. For a second, I almost felt bad. Then she opened her mouth. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she said, pushing past me into my apartment. "No, hello, no, can I come in? Just entitlement. You can't just barge in here," I said calmly. "I can't? You just destroyed my wedding and you're worried about manners?" She spun to face me. "Do you have any idea what you've done? The venue, the caterer, everything is gone. We're 3 weeks out, Harper. 3 weeks. I know. You know? That's all you have to say?" I crossed my arms. "What do you want me to say, Meredith?" "I want you to fix this," she shouted. "I want you to call them back and tell them it was a mistake." "It wasn't a mistake." Her face contorted. You're doing this because you're mad about the wedding party. You're being a child. I laughed. Actually laughed. You think this is about not being a bridesmaid? Isn't it? I walked to my laptop, opened the spreadsheet, turned it toward her. I've paid $18,340 for your wedding. You've paid me back $0. You told me you'd reimburse me after the wedding gifts came in. But then you told me I wasn't sophisticated enough to be in your photos. So tell me, Meredith, why should I keep paying for a wedding I'm not even worthy of standing in? She stared at the screen. I watched her face shift through emotions, confusion, recognition, then something harder. I never asked you to pay for all that. My jaw dropped. You're joking. I'm not. You offered to help. I didn't force you. You said you'd pay me back. I said I'd try. Things have been tight. You're hiring a $3,000 coordinator. She flushed. That's different. That's necessary. And I wasn't? She looked away. You're my sister. Sisters help each other. Help, I repeated. Not bankrupt themselves while being told they're not good enough. I never said that. You said I wasn't sophisticated enough. I didn't mean it like that, she snapped. You're twisting my words. You're making this into something it's not. There it was. Gaslighting, making me question my own reality. I'd fallen for it 100 times before, not today. Get out, I said quietly. Harper, get out of my apartment. She stared at me like I was a stranger. You're really going to do this. You're going to ruin my wedding, because your feelings are hurt. I'm not ruining anything, I said, opening the door. I'm stopping paying for it. There's a difference. This is who you are, she said, voice shaking. Someone who abandons family? I'm not abandoning you. I'm protecting myself from you. She left without another word, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frame. I stood there for a long time, heart pounding, waiting to feel guilty. It didn't come. Just more relief. By that evening, the story had metastasized. My mother called. I answered this time. Harper Marie, what is going on? Her voice was cold. Disappointed. The tone that used to make me scramble to fix things. I assume Meredith told you. She told me you canceled her wedding out of spite. I canceled the vendors I personally paid for. That's not how she tells it. I'm sure it's not. Harper, this is not like you. You're being cruel. I closed my eyes. Mom, did she tell you how much money I've spent? That's not the point. It's exactly the point. I've spent over $18,000. I haven't been paid back a dime. And she told me I'm not good enough to stand in her wedding. She didn't say that. She said I'm not sophisticated enough. Same thing. My mother sighed. You're taking it out of context. She just meant the aesthetic. Stop, I interrupted. Just stop defending her. I'm not defending anyone. I'm trying to understand why you're punishing your sister. I'm not punishing her. I'm removing myself from a situation where I'm being used. Used? She's your sister, Harper. This is family. Family doesn't drain your savings and then cut you out. You're being dramatic. That word again. Dramatic. Sensitive. Too much. All the words I'd heard my whole life when I asked for basic respect. I'm done with this conversation, I said. Harper, if you don't fix this... What? You'll what? Silence. She didn't have an answer. Because there was no leverage left. I'd already lost my money. I'd already lost my dignity. There was nothing left to take. I have to go, Mom. I hung up. The days that followed were strange. Quiet. My phone still buzzed, but less frequently. Meredith stopped calling. My mother sent passive-aggressive texts that I didn't respond to. Jason called once. Actually called. Hey, he said. Hey. So, I heard your side of things. From your text. Yeah. That's a lot of money. I laughed bitterly. Yeah, it is. I didn't know you were paying for all that. I thought Mom and Dad were helping. Nope. Just me. He was quiet for a moment. Meredith's losing her mind. The wedding's basically imploding. She's trying to rebook everything, but no one has availability for June 15th. She might have to postpone again. I felt a twist of something. Not guilt. Maybe sadness. For the loss of what I thought we had. That's not my problem anymore, I said. I know, Jason said. And honestly, good for you. She's been treating you like a credit card with feelings for years. Someone needed to say no. Mom doesn't see it that way. Mom never sees anything that doesn't fit her narrative. You know that. I did know that. It still hurt. Are you okay? He asked. The question surprised me. No one had asked that. I'm getting there, I said honestly. Good. Let me know if you need anything. After we hung up, I realized that was the longest conversation Jason and I had had in years. Maybe there was something worth salvaging in the rubble after all. 2 weeks before the original wedding date, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Amanda, the photographer. I wanted you to know that another couple's wedding got canceled, and I was able to book a different event for June 15th. So your decision didn't hurt me financially. I also wanted to say that I mentioned your situation to a few other vendors in our network. You're not alone in dealing with this kind of thing. Sending you strength. I read it 3 times. Tears finally came. Not sad tears. Relieved ones. Because someone saw me. Someone understood. I texted back. Thank you. That means more than you know. The day that was supposed to be the wedding, I woke up to sunshine streaming through my window. I made coffee slowly. Read a book I'd been meaning to start for months. Around noon, I went to a ceramics class I'd signed up for on a whim. Spent 3 hours shaping clay with my hands, creating something just for me. My phone stayed in my bag. When I checked it later, there was one text from Jason. A photo. Meredith and Connor at City Hall. Small ceremony. Just immediate family. The caption. They eloped. Mom's pretending it was the plan all along. I stared at the photo. Meredith looked beautiful but tired. Connor looked uncomfortable. My mother was smiling too brightly. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just a quiet sense of closure. I texted Jason back. Hope they're happy. And I meant it. I hoped they figured their lives out. I just knew I didn't need to be part of it anymore. 3 months later, I got an envelope in the mail. My mother's handwriting. Inside was a check for $2,500 and a short note. This is what we can spare right now. We'll send more when we can. No apology. No acknowledgement of what had happened. Just money, like that fixed everything. I deposited the check, put it toward my credit card. It barely made a dent, but it was something. I never heard from Meredith. No apology, no explanation, no attempt to rebuild. And I realized I was okay with that, because the truth had finally caught up. And once it does, there's no pretending the relationship was something it wasn't. I'm not going to lie and say everything is perfect now. I'm still paying off debt. I still have moments where I wonder if I overreacted. But then I remember the feeling of sitting in my car, being told I wasn't good enough. Remember the spreadsheet. Remember the years of invisible work. And I know I made the right choice. Last month, I booked a trip to Portugal. Just me. 2 weeks of exploring coastal towns and eating food I can't pronounce. It's the vacation I should have taken years ago, with money I should have kept for myself. I'm leaving in 3 weeks. I've never been more excited about anything. I thought about the girl I used to be, the one who said yes to everything, who swallowed disappointment, who believed love meant making yourself small. She did her best with what she knew, but she doesn't run my life anymore. I do. And I choose peace over performance. Boundaries over obligation. Myself over the version of me that made everyone else comfortable. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever been told you're selfish for protecting yourself, know this. You're not hard to love. You're just refusing to be used. And that's not cruelty. That's survival. If this spoke to you, like, share, and subscribe for more stories of quiet strength on Echoes of Life. Your story matters. Your boundaries matter. You matter.